One of the most important lessons I learned over the years was trying to answer a simple yet vastly important question. Do I need more tools in my tool belt for applying treatment, or do I need to just sharpen the ones I already have? In this episode, I cover the mistakes I made over the years of thinking I had to take every single technique course, have every certification, and always be at the cutting edge of all the new fancy treatment methods, only to learn the hard way that excelling at the basics and dedicating myself to sharpening the tools I already had would take me further in my practice than taking another course. I hope you gained some new insights and perspectives from those lessons over the years and can make better decisions on what to learn and apply in your clinic in the treatment setting. Welcome back to the Soft Tissue Treatment Revolution podcast, where we teach self-employed and overworked massage therapists a better treatment system that will allow you to cut your treatment times by at least 50% so you can stay healthy, avoid that dreaded burnout, and help a hell of a lot more people get out of pain. For those of you that are new to the show and you don't know who I am, my name is Dr. Matt Maggio. I am a soft tissue injury treatment expert specifically for neck, shoulder, elbow, and wrist pain. My focus is on finding and fixing scar tissue and then reducing inflammation from chronic injuries without the use of drugs, injections, or surgeries, which does lead to a significant increase in overall functioning, flexibility, and long-lasting pain relief. Thanks so much for stopping by and checking out the show. Let's get right into it. The problem with being a technique certification junkie. So why did I make this episode? I've been trying to go on a social media cleanse and stay away from it. I moved it over to like a separate phone so I don't go on, but every once in a while I do go on. And usually it's on Instagram, and I see all these therapists out there from all over the world. And it seems like every couple weeks they're doing some new technique or some new groundbreaking certification. It's going to be the greatest thing ever. They're so in on it. They can't believe they missed out on it. It was the missing link, the missing key. And then a couple weeks later, they're trying something new. They never really stick to anything. And a lot of problems with I see, especially in the training space, is a lot of those techniques and treatments, they're really just techniques and treatments. They don't actually teach you how to think, how to figure out problems, be a more critical problem solver. Essentially, they don't teach you a system, because they just say, hey, do this treatment and see what happens. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I see a lot of people doing what I call winging it, where they're just throwing a bunch of shit at it and see what happens. They spend an hour, hour and a half with the client, do everything under the sun. Sometimes they're better, sometimes they're not. It's never like repeatable. It's never the same outcomes each time. So then they think, oh, I just need to learn something new. They throw that away and they want to add another tool to their tool belt, instead of sharpening the tools you already have. So I see this all the time out there. And when people first come and talk to me, or even in my own clinics, I'm just a neck, shoulder, elbow, and wrist pain expert. That's all I do. If you call me for a knee problem, you call me for a low back problem, a sciatica problem, a foot problem, I don't take you on. That's all I do. The body is really fucking complicated. And trying to think you know all of it is just going to put you in a really tight spot, because you're not going to know all of it. Look at orthopedic surgeons. When you hurt yourself and you have a shoulder problem, you go just to a shoulder expert or a neck expert or a low back expert. That's all they do. But so many of us soft tissue practitioners, we want to be able to do it all. We want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. At the end of the day, I say this all the time, and I have to keep repeating it. Specialists get paid 10 times more than a generalist. But majority of everyone out there is just a generalist, just trying to get it all. They don't want to miss out on anything. They think, oh, if I don't know it all, what if someone calls? You know what? If you're just the expert in shoulder injuries or neck injuries or elbow or wrist, and someone calls, you know what? Your pricing advantage is so much higher. They're going to be more likely to come in because you're a true specialist. But I digress. Another thing we're all guilty of, and I am myself, I was for years. I'm going on my, I'm getting old, 13th year of practice. Getting old. it's called shiny object syndrome. It's like we always want the new and cutting edge and groundbreaking thing out there. And these people that are teaching these techniques in these seminars are putting in their stuff up on social media, and they're like, "Oh, look at this! It's so amazing, and I can get instant pain relief in one visit," and blah 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 blah. They're all full of fucking shit, and they're full of shit too. But you know what? You buy into it anyway. Trust me, I know because I did it myself. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Fix this complex and difficult problem in one treatment." Bull fucking shit. And you know that too. So we get that shiny object syndrome. Instead of focusing on the things that we already have and taking, maybe that seminar worked really good, take it 10 more fucking times and get to become a master in it. Instead, we're going on to the next thing. We're like, well, that didn't work. It didn't work because, well, a lot of times it didn't work because it's actually shit. And a lot of that stuff is shit out there. Now, you might think I'm being mean and I should play nice, but no, a lot of it's bullshit. And I see a lot of it on the social medias all the time. I'm like, that's not doing jack shit. But people are doing it, they're promoting it, they think they're fucking sweet. And if they have all day to put up videos on social media, I'm here to tell you, honestly, they probably don't have a very busy practice. They're probably not good at what you do, because for me to take time out of my week to do this, it's like I have to set aside one day a week to do this and get this stuff out there, because I want you to learn. I want people to get better care so they can stay the fuck away from the pain pills, injections, and surgeries. Another thing that happens, and I had it too, I called it my big ego wall of certifications. In my old office, I had like wall to wall of everything I took. I took all the ART courses, I took all these corrective courses, I took everything across the board, and it was littered from top to bottom. And I'd look at that wall and I'd be like, man, look at me. I'm a smart motherfucker. People are so lucky to have me. And what I realized is that people don't give a goddamn shit about what you do or how you do it. They just care that you can do it. And it doesn't come from having a wall full of certifications. All it proves to me is that you're just really good at taking courses and you haven't really mastered anything. Because at the end of the day, this might hurt to hear, or it might be a good reminder that some of us need to hear. You are a fucking manual therapist. What does that mean? Use your hands. Start using your damn hands. So many out there are trying to find every other way not to use their hands. They want to do all these fancy instrument things. They want to do corrective exercises. They love putting cups on things and having people go through a range of motion and call it myofascial decompression, blah, 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 blah. It ain't fucking shit. It's not using your hands. Use your fucking hands and be really good at it, because that's what you can truly heal people and help them with. So, some questions, some good questions to ask yourself to get on the right path, and try to decide, do you need to take more technique or do you need to do something different? Number one is, do I need more techniques or do I just need a better system? So when a client comes in, what do? Do you have them fill out some bullshit intake form and just have them fill it out and you don't even look at it, have them go on the table and you just start feeling where it hurts and start doing some shit? You might rub there, you might do some deep tissue work, fuck, you might even use your elbow, because elbow is so great for applying treatment. I'm being sarcastic here if you didn't pick up on that. You beat the fuck out of it with some instrument and just rail on it, but you put it up on social media so it looks really, really fucking cool. Or do you just need a better system? Do you need to know what to ask, what type of questions to do, what type of functional tests to do, what type of palpations to do, what type of treatment, how to communicate effectively to the client that they're actually getting better, how to keep them from doing dumb shit in between each treatment so they get better. So what do you need more, a technique or a better system? I bet it's a better system. The next question you want to ask is, what I'm doing an actual treatment? That's right, is what I'm doing an actual treatment. So the criteria for a treatment is it must be safe, it must be effective, it must be durable. So most manual treatments out there are pretty safe. They're not going to kill you, they're not going to do anything. They might bruise you a little bit. Those ones where they like fucking destroy you with an instrument, like that ain't treatment. They're just beating the shit out of tissue. Effective. So yeah, they might temporarily allow the client to feel better. You might do some cupping, you might do a stretch, you might do some deep tissue work. They might feel better for a day or two. But the key component is durable. What does durable mean? Is it long lasting? Could you go in and put this person on a treatment plan, get all their tissue cleaned up, have them function really good, have functional tests to let you know that they're doing really good. Those tests continue to hold each visit, and then a month later, they're still holding good. That's durable. The next thing is what's called order of operations. I'm going to make a whole YouTube video about this, and I've covered it on past podcasts as well. But basically the idea of order of operations: to fix any problem, we must first start with restoring range of motion. So what limits range of motion? It's going to be scar tissue buildup in the nerves, in the fascia, in the ligaments, in the muscles. And what happens is it's like glue that gets inside there. And what's your job to do as a provider is to get proper depth and tension on that area, have the client go through a full range of motion and break down that bad tissue that restores range of motion. The next step is we need to balance strength. So when there's a lot of compensations, we need to do corrective work to balance that. And the last thing we need to do is increase the strength, the overall strength with global movements. And then the last thing we need to do is retrain the nervous system. Here's the thing though, a lot of times you don't need to do that part, because that dysfunction or that muscle not firing is because there's a problem going on underneath. And that's what you're going to fix with your hands, like I said before. And you don't need to do all that neuro re-education bullshit that everyone else out there is doing. And the last question, I think this is the most important question you should ask yourself. If you only had the option of using just one of your treatment methods to make the biggest change and help the most, that's right, the biggest change and help the most, which one would you use? Now, that's the one you should get really fucking good at, because it's the one providing the best results, period. Think about that. So in closing, there's techniques exist all over the place. And it seems like everyone out there teaching on the internet has some magic fix-all thing that they pitch you to come to take one of their training courses. Having great treatment skills is the key foundation to your practice in getting results. But if you don't know how to apply and use the tools correctly, then you're just stuck guessing and always feeling like you need to learn something new. The key is having a system that teaches you first how to figure out exactly what the problem is. Because if you don't know what the problem is in the first place, you sure as hell can't fix it. Next is knowing exactly what treatment to apply in the correct area to get optimal results. Knowing for sure you made a lasting improvement in functioning with real world tests. This is how you solve problems. Other providers can't even come close to teach you, and a lot of these providers can't even come close to teaching you that in a systematized and repeatable way. Essentially, you're going to be in a much better place. And this is how you solve problems. And there's no gimmicks, there's no tricks, there's just results, repeatable every single fucking time. That is exactly what I teach you in my free training modules: how to figure out problems and apply the correct treatment every time. No guesswork, just focused results. And you can access all those modules by going to the link in my profile or wherever you might be consuming this episode. And lastly, and I say this every week, go out there and be great this week. The world needs access to your treatments so people can stay the hell away from the broken medical model, which only makes things worse and destroys people's lives. I appreciate you guys listening, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye. Thanks so much for listening. If you want help on the path to being able to double your income, all while working 50% less and being taken seriously as a healthcare provider, I have some great resources for you. Number one, get access to our free training modules and introduction to my system, the Peak Method. Number two, subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Soft Tissue Revolution. Links to all of this can be found in the show notes. Lastly, if you like the show, please leave us a 5-star review and share it with others that you know it could help.